This video is for educational and entertainment use only. The views in this video do not necessarily represent the views or life of
Welcome
Marlon
back to the
Dixon.
Duffle LO to sit down. And I told you guys what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the black women. We're gonna try to keep it positive, although it's gonna be positive and it's gonna be a little negative at the same time. But we're gonna try to keep it somewhat positive, at least a tad bit. But I want to share my screen to show you guys like what's getting ready to come down the pipeline for black women in Georgia. To some black women, this is gonna be positive, but I got reviews from other black women that's also that I'm gonna go over to show you guys that all black women don't think this is positive. So let me share my screen right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Here we go, Yahoo News. And as you guys can see, that's what it is right there. Let me move me down so y'all can see dude with the pimple. But hundreds of black women in Georgia will get $850 per month in guaranteed income. Now, this is a program that they doing, and they doing the experiment. I'm gonna show you guys how I know it's an experiment and not just saying it, but because the actual article that just came out yesterday is nobody can access it anymore. So I'm gonna show you guys that during this video, but we're gonna get into this little 3-minute read. A new guaranteed income pilot, which means if you look at any series on Netflix, when they show you the pilot, that's the first episode to basically get you introduced to this. A new guaranteed income pilot will give hundreds of dollars per month to poor black women in Georgia in an effort to improve their financial stability and mental health and tackle the racial wealth gap. That's really loaded information. That's really loaded. One, they said poor black women. So they specifically telling you that these women are poor. So they giving them this money that they know that they are in need of. And they saying in an effort, if you're putting forth effort, you put forfeit, you may not be really getting it, but you trying. In an effort to improve their financial stability. So now, yes, if they already live a paycheck to paycheck and they don't have a lot of money to do the things they want to do, of course, they're going to accept this $850 because what? It's going to help them to pay their bills. Lots of them are going to accept it. A lot of them are in actual need of it. But they said to improve their mental health. Now, how $850 is going to improve your mental health when I'm pretty sure psychologists go between 80 to 150, maybe upwards of $200 an hour just to talk to them. $850 is only going to get you what, maybe 3-ish, 4-ish, 5-ish sessions if you go talk 2 to 3 hours per session. So that's not really going to be able to help them with their mental health when they actually need this money to take care of their kids. So now it's either I take this $850 and work on my mental health, or I take this $850 and be able to take care of my kids. They're going to choose their children over their mental health. And then they said to tackle the racial wealth gap. $850 a month to the black women is not going to tackle the racial wealth gap. Notice a lot of these poor black women, they didn't say poor black families, not the father, the mother, and the child. They said poor black women. So these are women that are single moms and they're in these poor environments, and they think that giving them $850 is going to close the wealth gap when she may be living paycheck to paycheck. So how is that going to close the wealth? That's why I said it's loaded. But let's keep going. The program called In Her Hands will give about $850 in a month in monthly cash, no strings attached, to up to 650 black women for 2 years. 650 black women. That's not a lot of black women. They only giving it to 650 black women. So we're going to take 650. First, let's do the 850. 850, 850. And we're going to times that by 24 because they're going to give it to them for 2 years. So that's $20,000 for 100. And they only giving it to 650 black women times 650 equals $13.26 million, as you guys can see right there. Launching early next year, which is 2022, January right now, launching early next year and distributing more than 13 million, it is poised to be one of the largest guaranteed income pilot programs in the US. What they're doing is they giving these women this $13 million to stimulate the economy. because they know that it's no strings attached. They can do whatever they want to with the money. They know that they're gonna spend the money. They already know that they're gonna spend the money. But this is what's so crazy. I just told you guys in the last video what happened. Millions are getting ready to lose their health insurance. Potentially, poor Black women will be some of those ones that's going to lose their health insurance. Potentially, some of the poor Black children will be the ones that lose their health insurance. And they only giving this to 650 women, but it's something to talk about. I want you guys to pay close attention to this. Led by Georgia Resilience and Opportunity Fund, a coalition of local elected officials and nonprofits. Nonprofit mean you out there working for the people, you're not trying to make a profit, and you spending all the money, but although the people that work for the nonprofit, they kind of, they get paid. And the nonprofit give directly. The program will include participants who live in Atlanta and other parts of suburban and rural Georgia who are near or below the federal poverty line. It's only 650 of them. That's it. It's only 650 of them. So how are they going to go about getting this? Or are they going to make all these women sign up for it, and then the ones that they want to get it or that meet the requirements will get it? Are they going to randomly pick 650 women? How's that going to go? The program, remember I told y'all think tank, just think about this. The program will study how such unconditional cash transfers affect the financial and mental well-being of the participants. This is a science experiment. That's what this is. They want to give these women this money to track where they spend the money, how they spend the money, and when they spend the money, and whom they spend the money on. With all this information that they get, because this is a study, and the 650 is a small sample. So they taking the 650 to study them for 2 years. What they gonna do with this experiment is see what these 650 women are gonna do, and then they're gonna put that as the whole population would do this, because this is what these type of women that think like this do. So you gotta understand what they're doing. It is intentionally being started in Atlanta, a city with some of the most pronounced income inequality in the U.S., and specifically in its old Fourth Ward neighborhood, where Martin Luther King Jr. grew up and promoted the idea of a guaranteed income. See, they got to sell it to you. So they got to hit y'all with some positivity and tell y'all, oh, Martin Luther King grew up. Go in every city across America. Every time you go on Martin Luther King Drive, there's a hood right there. Every time. The median Black family in the U.S. owns $3,600 in wealth, about 2% of the 147,000 that the median white family owns per 2019 research from the Institute for Policy Studies. And in Georgia, about 26% of Black women live in poverty compared to 14% of white women. Now listen to this. They said the median family, Black family, but they giving this to Black women. Now they giving it to Black women, but they talking about the Black family owns. So now the Black family, man, woman, child, only got 3,600. So if it's just woman and child, you wouldn't think that it's actually less than 3,600. And then the white family that's together, not all of them, but the ones that's together, they have 147,000. If they just lost the 140,000, they 7,000 still is almost double the 3,600. But then, like they said, compared to the 14% of white women, the pilot, they're gonna see what the Black women gonna do, and then they possibly gonna come around and do the same thing with white women if they already ain't doing it. So Black women have also been hit disproportionately hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and the accompanying economic crisis, being more likely than other groups to face job loss and eviction. So she ain't got no job. She getting ready to get evicted. She finna lose her health care, but y'all gonna get 650 of them, $850 for 2 years. And Black people overall in the U.S. have experienced higher rates of hospitalization and death from the coronavirus than white people have. So this $850, is this going to stop people from getting COVID? Black women are among the most likely groups to experience cash shortfalls that make covering basic needs difficult. Let me say that again. Black women are among the most likely groups to experience cash shortfalls that make covering basic needs difficult. This isn't the result of poor choices. It's the result of a pervasive economic insecurity that has the sharpest impacts on women and communities of color. Hope Wallasak, executive director of the GRO Fund, said in the release, guaranteed income is a step toward creating a more just and equitable economy. She ain't do nothing but lie with a smile on her face. That's what she did. She said, this isn't the result of poor choices. Let me explain this to you. If a woman lays down with a man and have a baby by that man, and she know that that man don't have a job, or he don't have aspirations to have a career, or he's doing something that may potentially take him away from her and the children, is that a poor choice? Also, if this woman chooses to spend her hard-earned money on unnecessary things such as material stuff, is that a poor choice? Also, if the woman chooses to not have a man in the house and she have to work 80 to 90 hours per week and struggle with her children and not spend time with her children, is that a poor choice? All those for y'all to think about. It's the result of a pervasive economic insecurity that has the sharpest impacts on women and communities of color. You see how they just wrap that up and it sounds so good. You know that in the world, the Blacks have not been having the resources and the opportunity to gather wealth as other races. We already understand that. And when they saying that it's the insecurity and it has the sharpest impacts on women, notice that they said women. And notice they said communities of color. They said women as just women. And when they say communities of color, they saying all the hoods around with the Black people in them. So they not talking about Black men. This is all about Black women, like it says. So they're not trying to help him, or they're not trying to tell her, like, no, you guys should stay together. They not doing that. No, we gonna help you. That's how they think. Same thing happened in the 70s where they said, kick your man out and we're gonna help you. And 50 years later, we see what's going on in the community now. The idea of a guaranteed income or free money with no conditions to improve economic and other outcomes for low-income people is not new. It's been tested at large scale in countries such as Kenya and India with positive results, including improved nutrition, and in Finland, where recipients reported improvements in their health and well-being. Everybody feel good when they get something free. Give Directly, the nonprofit co-leading the pilot in Georgia, ran the world's largest and longest universal basic income experiment in Kenya. See, this is what this is. That's what this experiment really is. Universal basic income is everybody is going to get this income and everybody is going to get this amount of money. And when you get this amount of money, you get to spend this money. And when you spend this money, that's all the money you get. Notice what I said. It's a universal. Everybody get this basic income. And they running these experiments because this is what they're trying to do. Y'all, hopefully y'all paying attention. In the US, other guaranteed income projects have shown promise. In Stockton, California, 125 people were sent $500 in cash each month for a year. Research found that recipients had better job prospects and improved mental health, and that they used the cash to purchase basic necessities. They had, because they got sent 125 people got sent $500 for a year, and they found that they had better job prospect. That don't mean you got the job. That means you looking at a better job. That don't mean you got the job. And improved mental health. $500 a month for a year, improve your mental health. When they shooting around the corner, when you seeing blood over there, you seeing this going on over there and drugs in the community. What? And that they use the cash to purchase basic necessities. So obviously they couldn't afford the basic necessities. But let's just say those basic necessities is water, electricity, soap, dish detergent, all that stuff. If that's what they're gonna purchase, those companies will earn money when they give out this income to these women. Meanwhile, for a year, Magnolia's Mother's Trust in Mississippi gave $1,000 per month to Black moms who said it made a difference in their lives. $1,000, I already know. And Oakland, California is currently running a guaranteed income program with $500 cash each month to 600 low-income families. They doing all the experiments, all Black people. We trying to see how y'all spend y'all money. Blacks are already the top consumers across the globe. So now we give y'all free money, same thing like they did with the stimulus checks, which is free money. We want to see what y'all gonna do. Now I'm gonna show y'all this because I done told this to people so many times and nobody never gets it. Trump gave out $1,200. Biden gave out $600, plus another $1,400. That's $3,200, ladies and gentlemen. $3,200. It's backwards. I don't know if it's going to show forward, but that's $3,200. If 10,000 people, I'm pretty sure it's over 10,000 people that's Black in America, but if 10,000 of them got together, since all this was no strings attached, and you times that 3,200, and you times that by 10,000 people, and it ain't have to be 10,000 people because, you know, even the kids got the check. So if some women had 3 kids, 2 kids, 1 kid, or even 5 kids, it might not need to be 10,000 people, but just 10,000 of those checks. Well, how much would that have been? That would have been $32 million, ladies and gentlemen, with only 10,000 of those checks for $0. No interest, no loans, no none of that. That's $32 million. 10,000 people couldn't put their money together to take that $32 million cash and go purchase something, purchase land, purchase property, purchase a business, purchase something to keep those 10,000 people living for the rest of their life. So they doing this because they know how you're gonna spend the money, because you're gonna spend the money with the companies that they already own. Y'all gotta understand this stuff. In the US, a federal report from 2019 found that nearly 40% of Americans would not be able to cover a $400 surprise expense. When they say nearly 40% of Americans, they not talking about Americans. They talking about the Black Americans. That's what they talking about. With this in mind, Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat from Minnesota, introduced legislation this year that will create a federal guaranteed income program to send $1,200 a month directly to most Americans. Is that everybody, or is that just in Minnesota? In promoting this legislation, Omar pointed to the success of the government's own experiment in giving cash to people. Millions of Americans received the three rounds I just said. Now listen, Omar pointed to the success of the government's own experiment. Y'all need to look up the definition of experiment so you know that this is a science experiment that they're doing on people and giving cash to people. Millions of Americans received 3 rounds of stimulus checks during the pandemic. $1,200, $1,400, $600. These payments were found to substantially alleviate economic hardship. $3,200 they sent you. You got a whole life ahead of you to live. How did $3,200 really make a difference in your life? Helping people buy food and pay bills, and may have helped reduce anxiety and depression for some people. I don't want to make this video too long, but we're going to stop that right here because they talking about depression in people. They know what they're doing with these experiments, how they experiment on people. And they giving you this money to see how you're going to spend the money, but they giving you the free money because they understand that 9 times out of 10, what you're going to do with the free money, you're going to give it back to them. In some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're going to give it back to them. You have to understand that we is in a super bubble right now, a super bubble. More than one bubble. We in like, it's like 8 bubbles going on right now. One, you ever seen bubbles? They get to pop and they all get to pop. That's what's going to get ready to happen. And it's going to be a depression. So when they say they trying to keep people from getting depression, they really telling you that it's going to get ready to be a depression that's coming. People got to understand the language, and you have to see the words that they using. Like, this stuff is really real, and they giving it to the Black women. They not helping the Black men. So if he already can't get a job, he already can't vote, he already got all this going on, how he supposed to take care of himself? He got to go out here and get it however he can get it. A lot of times that's crime. So all this is a ploy, but I'm gonna go to the next video. This next video, I'm gonna stop this one. And the next one, I'm gonna go to the comments of how other women feel about women getting this free money. And you're gonna see it ain't gotta be me talking, and I ain't gonna say the negative stuff, even though I said a little couple of things that made y'all want to think about. But watch what these women say about these women that's gonna receive this. So that's all I gotta say for this video. Hopefully you guys pay attention to this episode. Like I said, I have the books. The books are all booklets. They small, but they packed with knowledge. Like I said, it's called the Mercy Papers, the water for the gardens. I'm from the gardens, and I just really want to water the seeds out there of the world, because if we don't understand this knowledge, we bound to keep on repeating history. And if we think that it's wrong to think, or we think that it's wrong to be smart, we'll keep failing at life over and over and over. So that's all I gotta say for this video. See you guys on the next one.
This video is for educational and entertainment use only. The views in this video do not necessarily represent the views or life of Marlon Dixon.